Hello, friends, and thank you as always for visiting the Legend Sports Universe YouTube channel, Legend Sports Universe, where legends play forever. It has been a back and forth, fun, interesting battle here in the Eastern Conference Finals for year one of the Legend Sports Universe Hockey League. The Toronto Maple Leafs and the Tampa Bay Lightning deadlock at 2 games apiece as the series returns to Tampa. The Lightning with a near flawless performance in game four to turn this into a best 2 out of 3. They reclaim home ice advantage. Now the Maple Leafs will see if they can get their offense back on track, get their defense back on track. Turk Broda was pulled in game four, but those goals really weren't on Broda. It was defensive lapses. The Lightning stretched them out. Tampa, 56 shots. That is uncharacteristic. I mean, it's the most of any team so far in the postseason that any team has had in any game. But particularly for this Lightning squad, that is not their MO, but it worked out beautifully. They stretched the ice, they created lanes, they took Toronto's physicality away from them and just gave them less opportunities to ride them into the boards, make open ice hits. The Lightning, just a flawless performance in game four. So now we get to a pivotal game five in Tampa. Leafs and Lightning coming up. Both sides paying their respects. They played the Canadian national anthem early. Don't worry. Goudreau, Stamkos, and San Luis for Tampa. Marner, Matthews, and Nylander for the Leafs as we get underway. Game 5, puck drop. Toronto wins the draw. Carlson across to Marner. Marner's pass picked off. Here's Goudreau across the blue line. Goudreau cuts aside. Quick shot there on Broda. Stick save, turns to the corner. San Luis wins it. Stamkos, who got back on the board. Stamkos rings the post. Oh, Steven Stamkos, who had been quiet in the series until game 4. He had a goal and an assist. And he hits the post there in the opening minute. Goudreau through the neutral zone to Stamkos. Stamkos across the blue line. Stamkos shot partially blocked, rolls in on Broda. Keep it in play as Toronto tries to start a push. Here's Austin Matthews. Matthews has his pocket picked by Johnny Goudreau. Both of these teams with big trade pickups during the season. Johnny Goudreau for the Lightning. Erik Karlsson for the Leafs. There's the Braden Point. Point taken out in game 2. That game was a chippy affair. Gratton and Clark dropped the gloves after the hit on Point that sidelined him for game 3. But Point returned in game 4 and broke the ice with the first goal in the game. Here's Palat. Palat sends it down and around. Point goes into the corner for it. Comes out of there with it. Braden Point rushes to the net. Pass to an on-rushing LeCavalier, but can't keep control of the puck. Sittler pressured down in the corner. Puck gets knocked behind the net. King Clancy goes back for it. Skates around behind. Hits Babe Dye. Dye being harassed, but gets rid of it to Sittler. Sittler across the blue line. Darryl Sittler's shot is blocked. Goes to the corner. Sittler retrieves it himself. Beautiful pass there from Sittler to Keon. The Keon stretched out a little too far away from the net on the far side. Didn't have a good angle to do anything with that puck. Down in the Toronto end. Clancy goes back to retrieve. Puts on the brakes. Nice little cut there by Clancy to evade the check. Fred Horner to Sittler. Sittler to Keon. Keon tees up. Shot. Saved by Vasilevsky. Back to Hammerlick as the Lightning in their blacks. That served them well in the Game 2 win. Feed in front. Oh! Red Horner's going to get credit for the goal, but that's an own goal on Tampa. That hits off Chris Gratton's stick. And Red Horner is going to get credit for the goal here, but Chris Gratton rushing in sticks the stick out to block the pass, and instead puts it past Vasilevsky. A nightmare for the Lightning to open the scoring. Chris Gratton, oh boy. Grattan, an extra defender coming back there, filled the gap and ends up filling the net with the first goal of the game. But for the Leafs, 1-0 Toronto. So now the Lightning will have to recover from the shock of that. Hedman feeds to Grattan. Grattan to Malone. Malone has his pocket picked by Horner in front. Can never get the shot off. Armstrong across the blue line. Armstrong with a shot. Save from Vasilevsky. Oh, wow. Chris Grattan. Grattan's played a good series. He's been their physical force. And he dropped the gloves with Clark after that hit on point in Game 2. But a nightmare of a play from Chris Grattan there. Thompson's pass picked off by Cirelli. Cirelli to Cernak. Cernak tees it up wide of the mark. Thompson banks it off the boards, gets it up to Dick Duff through the neutral zone. Duff has it swept away from him. Good job there by Paul Ranger. Ranger to Killorn. Killorn's pass can't be handled. Brewer gets it to Thompson. Fulford. This pass is off the mark. That'll go down and we'll have an icing call. Brings face-off down to the Toronto end. Duff, Fulford, and Bay for Toronto. Killorn, Paul, and Cirelli for Tampa. Stamkos wins the draw. Cernak. Stick checked away, but Cernak is able to go back for it. Pressured towards the net. Turnover. Bay with a shot. Cernak blocks it, gets control again. Pass there to Goudreau. San Luis. Leaves the zone. San Luis gets it to regroup. Marty San Luis, who has had a terrific series. San Luis battles. Wins the puck. It rolls across the crease. Over to the far boards. Leaves for three. Thompson. To Vave. Vave across the blue line. Sends it down and around. Paul Ranger. Ranger takes down Fulford behind the net. Here's Goudreau. Goudreau, nice outlet pass there to San Luis. Marty San Luis takes it wide. Throws it towards the middle. Brewer gets a stick on it. Gets it up to Keon. Keon to Kennedy. Kennedy pulls it back. Feeds Horner. Horner tees up. Shot. Save from Vasilevsky. Only 5 shots in the game so far. Horner shot through the middle. It's tipped, but Vasilevsky with a pad save steers it wide. Ryan McDonough to Palat. Palat shovels it down behind the Toronto net. Nylander pressured by Point. Point wins it. Tries to get it into the front. It hits off the net. Point retrieves it. One-timer up to the top. Slap shot wide. When Cavalier gets it off the boards, he takes a shot. Broda with the save. Toronto gets it out. We're past the midway point here of period number 1. Sent down and around. McDonough to Point. Point carry, sends it all the way down. Here comes Stanley. Stanley to Nylander. Nylander to Marner. Marner working. Cross-ice pass looking for Matthews, but it's intercepted. McDonough to Point. Point cuts in. Shot. Saved by Broda. Kind of deflected a bit there. Broda couldn't get control, but the Leafs get it out of danger. Cross Carlson. Carlson with a shot. And save from Vasilevsky. Kennedy gets the rebound. He's pinned along the board. Marner behind the net. Out to the point now. Thompson with a slapper. Hit in traffic. Hammerlick gets it out to Point. There's Malone across the blue line. Malone just shovels it. Lightning looked to get something there and then didn't pursue the forecheck much. Toronto had that covered pretty well. Pass here to Callahan across the blue line. Callahan to Hammerlick. Good feed down low, but Thompson picks the pocket and turns it the other way. Kennedy hit along the boards. He sends it deep. Cernak gets there first for the Lightning. Inside 7 minutes left in period number 1. Nick Paul. Paul tries to pull the trigger there. Too much traffic. Can't get it off. Here's Clark across the blue line. Wendell Clark. Clark carries. Checked in the corner. Sends it down and around, but Palat retrieves. Clearance pass is intercepted by Toronto. Clark throws it across to Carlson. Carlson to Armstrong. Trying to stay on sides. Now Clark takes the blue line. Clark gets around his man, sends it around the board. Cernak retrieves it, pressured by Armstrong, and there's going to be a penalty. And the Maple Leafs are going to get their first power play of the game. Nick Paul takes Armstrong down behind the net. Unnecessarily, Cernak had already won that puck. So now the Maple Leafs connecting at a 25% clip on their power play in the playoffs. Get the man advantage here. Hedman to Killorn. Killorn through the neutral zone. Now he'll send it in. Dave goes back to retrieve. Sittler to Keon. Keon rushes. Hedman separates him from the puck. Gets the puck out to Killorn. Killorn spins out of trouble. Pass there to Cirelli across the blue line. Tampa not going passive on this kill. Now Toronto with the breakout pass. That's going to go all the way down the ice. And the icing call is made. Keon balking a bit of that icing call. Thought he was going to get there first. Die to Sittler. Keon loses it to Goudreau across the Paul Ranger. Ranger missed the first 2 games of this series. Sittler feeds Keon. Keon shot, can't save Vasilevsky. Keon gets his own rebound, though. Pass out to the point. But Goudreau forces the turnover. Johnny Goudreau across the blue line. Goudreau, good stick work there. Nice carry, carries it in deep. But his pass is off the mark. Now it's Sittler coming the other way. Darryl Sittler takes a shot. Turned aside by Vasilevsky. Sittler gets his own rebound. Tries to throw it in front of the net, but Goudreau picks it off. Boyle to Palat. Palat races through the neutral zone. Andre Palat shot. Saved by Broda. Stick save turned aside. Babe Dye digs it out. Clearance, though, is intercepted by Goudreau. Goudreau one-on-one with Broda. Goudreau taken down from behind. No call as he gets the shot off. Broda with the save. Keon across the blue line. Poke down into the corner. Clancy. Clancy tries to take it in front of the net. He gets cut off by Cernak. Power play coming to a close. And we are back at even strength. Keon across the blue line. Keon beats his man. Keon, shot. Save Vasilevsky. He can't find it for a moment, but Cernak is able to get it out of there. Stamkos. Killorn to Cernak. Back to Stamkos. Stamkos, long distance dedication there. That was pretty much just thrown down. It goes towards the net. Broda has to deal with it. Lightning now putting a little pressure on. Pass there is picked off Bob Pulford. Bob Pulford has a breakaway. Pulford one-on-one with Vasilevsky. Shot save. Vasilevsky gets him with the pad. Pulford wins it behind the net. Shot. Nylander saved by Vasilevsky. Stamkos' pass picked off by Matthews. Matthews' shot is deflected up and over the net. Nylander tries to stuff it on the doorstep. Vasilevsky smothers it and holds on for the faceoff. Andre Vasilevsky one-on-one. Breakaway for Bob Pulford. But Vasilevsky denies it to keep it a 1-0 game. Pulford tried to get a little bit of height on that, but Vasilevsky covers it with the blocker. Malone, Gratton, and Callahan, Marner, Matthews, and Nylander, your lines. 1:57 remaining in the first. Gratton wins the draw. Malone. Toronto wins it. Red Horner. Horner gets tied up, fights through it, though. Good job there by Red Horner, but the Lightning finally get him off the puck. Here's Callahan. Callahan shovels it in. Matthews retrieves. Nylander to Horner. Horner carries. His pass picked off by Malone. Malone's pass picked off by Marner. Duff tries to stretch the ice. Marner comes down the middle. into traffic, and now it's the Lightning coming the other way. Ryan Callahan across the blue line. Callahan carries deep. His centering pass is picked off by Alan Stanley, who gets it out of the zone. Hammerlich stops it in the neutral zone. Here come the Lightning, less than 20 seconds remaining. In along the boards, turnover there. Hammerlich to Gratton. Everything just a mucky mess there at the blue line. Duff dumps it in, and that's how the first period comes to a close. But the Maple Leafs in soccer, they call it an own goal. Chris Gratton tries to make a play, and he does, but it wasn't a good one. Deflects in the pass for a Toronto goal. Leafs 1, Lightning nothing after 1. Toronto's passing is below 70% right now. I mean, Tampa's got a good job going here. They're taking lanes away. Toronto has not been precise, but the own goal from Gratton. And the real shame of that is that it wasn't even like the guy was open in the middle. We'll take a look at the one at that goal. It's the only goal of the first period. But the play was covered. So here's Horner. Horner comes in, carries, and now Horner's just going to throw it to the middle. Now here you see Gratton racing in. Keon is there, but Callahan is with him. So Callahan already has that, but you can see Callahan actually has his stick out there. So Callahan intercepts this pass if Gratton never touches it. Instead, it goes off of Gratton, off his stick, and in. Vasilevsky was already sliding over to the Keon Callahan side. And just an inopportune play. And that's the second fluky goal led up by the Lightning in this series, and it cost them Game 3. That was the Darryl Sittler fluke goal from the end line. That was just a puck thrown towards the net, got between the sliver, basically the puck width, between Vasilevsky's skate and the post. So the Lightning will have to shake it off. Toronto with a 10-7 shots advantage. This has not been an overly physical first period. As a result, you've also only seen one penalty fall. The Nick Paul penalty, the Lightning killed that off. The Lightning, again, the number one penalty kill in the league during the regular season. And they were terrific through the first two rounds, but you started to see a little bit of chinks in the penalty kill armor late in the Carolina series in the semifinal. And the Leafs have done a decent job on the power play here in this series as well. So we get down to the ice for Game 2, period number 2, Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Final. Top line start: Marner, Matthews, and Nylander, Gaudreau, Stamkos, and San Luis. Tampa wins the draw. Dunna to San Luis has it poked away. Slapper there. Oh, that one is teed off. Broda up to it, though, makes the save. San Luis throws it towards the net. Broda stops that one. Another shot there. Broda turns that one aside. And we're going to have a penalty behind the play. Power play coming for the Leafs. Nylander shot, stick save from Vasilevsky. But Steven Stamkos is going to the box. John Cooper doesn't seem thrilled with that. Well, I don't know. Yes, he got the stick up across the back, but it didn't seem like that big a push. I say let them play. But that's why I'm up here in the booth. Sittler, Keon, and Kennedy for the Leafs on the power play. Face-off there actually rolls in on Vasilevsky, who has to turn it aside. Tampa gets it clear. Dave banks it off the boards to Sittler. Sittler carries. He gets stopped at the blue line, but fights his way through. Nicely done by Sittler. Keon with a shot. Glove save from Vasilevsky. Sittler, 5 goals, 4 assists in the postseason. Game 5. Series is tied at 2. Sittler out to the point. Dave up top. Slapper there, wide of the mark. Hammerlick has it, then gets checked off of it. Keon to Babe Dye. Dye tees up through the traffic. It's deflected. Sittler pursues it in the corner. Toronto keeps it in the zone. Babe with a shot. That hits traffic. Hammerlick is chipped off the puck, though. Toronto wins it back. Babe dumps it in for the forecheck. Dunn gets there first for Tampa, though. Pinned along the boards. Keon goes in to help. Callahan goes in to help for Tampa. Four-man scrum. McDonough comes out of there with it. Minute gone in the power play. Tampa will send it down and around. Dave to Keon. Here's Hammerlick. Pressured along the near side boards. He gets control and it's basically knocked across the blue line, and offsides is the result. So they have a neutral zone face-off here. Nylander, Matthews, and Marner. Their power play unit for the Leafs. There's Carlson across the blue line. Carlson, feed to Marner. Marner to Matthews. Austin Matthews shot saved from Vasilevsky. Austin Matthews has been terrific in this postseason. 16 goals throughout this playoff run for the league's leading scorer during the regular season. He had 66 on the year. Clancy across the blue line. Shot. Save. Matthews looking for the rebound, but Cernak gets in between him and the puck. Cernak's had a strong game so far. Hedman. Pass there. Cross to Matthews. Matthews to Clancy. Clancy's pass picked off. Cernak to Cirelli. Gets it clear, and the power play is killed off. Back at even strength. Nylander to Marner. Marner to Nylander. Nylander shovels it down and around. Hedman gets it behind the net. Braden Point. The Hedman. Point gets taken down. No call. Breakout pass. Stamkos gets leveled by King Clancy all on the board. Clancy to Marner. Marner leaves it for Kennedy. Kennedy's shot into traffic. Doesn't get through. Stamkos evades the pressure. Tries to send it in. Breaks his stick. Gets some fresh lumber. Charge of Stamkos' stick still out on the ice. To a spot to break the stick because he was right by the Tampa bench. Now Stamkos pressure Stanley behind the net. Stamkos wins it. Cirelli shot. Blocked. Here comes Pulford. Pulford across ice to Nylander. Nylander tries to beat Hammerlick, but Hammerlick stands him up. Cavalier to Point. Braden Point hits Stamkos. Stamkos tied up by Pulford. Pulford turns it over. Le Cavalier tries to dump it in. Pulford blocks that one. Strong shift here from Bob Pulford. Pulford cross-ice pass. Stamkos picks it off. Cavalier hits Nick Paul at the blue line. Paul pulls it center. Boyle shot turned aside by Broda. Le Cavalier gets the rebound out of the corner. Le Cavalier in the slot. Saved by Broda, who holds on. Broda and Vasilevsky. Both solid. Cernak, the Ranger. To Malone. Malone with an opportunity. Pad saved by Broda. He tries to poke it away. Gratton digs it out. Malone's pass deflected out the point. Cernak with the shot, but he gets tied up by Armstrong. Didn't get anything on that shot. It never got to the net. Here comes Callahan. Callahan across the blue line. His pass can't be handled, but Kennedy is checked off the puck. Ranger across the blue line. Ranger to Malone. Shot saved by Broda. Gratton digs it out. Pass to the point. One-timer shot wide. Malone plays it up high. Cernak feeds it back down low. Pass can't be handled. Here comes Alan Stanley as the Leafs get out of pressure. Pass there to Armstrong. Armstrong shot. Stick save Vasilevsky. Armstrong puts the pressure on, feeds Wendell Clark. We got a penalty coming, and it's going to be another Toronto power play as Ryan Callahan is going to the box. Pressure in the corner. Oh, he wasn't even facing him when that call was made. Oh, boy. That's not a good one. I think that's a missed call there. But now the Leafs get a third power play opportunity, up 1-0. Here in the second, Nylander, Matthews, and Marner try to get an insurance goal. Babe dive, across the Babe. Babe back across the dive, shot through the traffic, deflected. Oh boy, McDonough almost hit that puck in. A little bit of a different scenario, but that would have been a deflection, and that just would have been unfortunate. McDonough across the blue line. McDonough shot, saved by Broda. Tampa looking for the shorty. Gaudreau's pass out to the point. Gets away from Hammerlick, but he retrieves it. Nylander pressuring him. Roman Hammerlick dumps it in. Down and around, Babe. The Babe dive. Dive puts on the brakes, comes back the other way as he reverses direction. Here's Marner. Marner's pass intercepted by Nick Paul. Paul to Hammerlick. Hammerlick to McDonough. Gaudreau. Cross to Paul. Hammerlick. Out across the blue line. Marner. Marner has it. Shot blocked by Hammerlick. Paul tries to get it clear. Clancy keeps it in the zone. Pass there picked off. Johnny Gaudreau with the interception. Breakaway. Gaudreau is tied up. Shot saved by Broda. Here's Duff coming the other way. Duff with a shot. Glove save from Vasilevsky. Broda denies Gaudreau. Gaudreau was tied up. Careful not to commit the penalty here. He gets bumped. But that's good, clean defending there. You wonder if he would have drawn the call if he had gone down. Broda comes out high and stones Gaudreau on the breakaway. Keeps it a 1-0 Maple Leafs lead. Sittler, Keon, and Kennedy, 34 seconds left on the Toronto power play. Ranger flips it down the ice. Toronto will go back to retreat. Here's Sittler. Bratton to Ranger. Plot across the blue line. Plot tries to tee it up, has it poked away by Clancy. Across to Kennedy. Turned over. Delayed penalty coming. And the Leafs are going to get a 1-second 5-on-3. But Andre Palat is called for a penalty. That's the fourth penalty on the Lightning. The Leafs haven't been called for one yet, and John Cooper is making clear that he is not a fan of how this game is being officiated at this point. Again, I don't feel like that's an excessive trap in the corner. He's not holding him there, really. So the last two penalties, I think, have been a bit on the questionable side. But Sittler, Keon, and Kennedy, it's 5-on-3 for a second. And then it'll be a normal power play for 1:59. Die shot, hits off the end board, bounces in front of the net. Cirelli retrieves it for Tampa. Here's Cernak. Cernak sends it down. Toronto will go back for retrieve. Edmund gets caught up the ice on the forecheck a little bit there. Not going to see that too frequently. Sittler. Kennedy up the middle. Not much on the shot. Hedman gets the rebound and sends it all the way down the ice. Dave cuts back. Loses control of it. Cirelli, San Luis on the doorstep. Oh, almost a lucky break for a shorty there for the Lightning. Keon to Armstrong. Armstrong across. Duff with a shot. Vasilevsky snares it. 8:50 left in the second period. 1:04 left on the Leafs' fourth power play opportunity of the game. Nylander, Matthews, and Marner. Toronto holding the 1-0 lead. Matthews to Babe. Babe. Pass in front. Oh! Tip-in attempt from Matthews goes wide. Bratton sends it down the ice to relieve the pressure. Babe goes back for it. Matthews to Marner. Nice move from Marner. Inside out, feed in front, but Boyle intercepts. Bratton to Ranger. Ranger evades the check. Gets it back up to Gratton, who dumps it down. Here comes Matthews. Matthews tees up. Vasilevsky holds on. Austin Matthews with a bullet, but Vasilevsky snares it. Nancy Dave Keon, 4 goals and assists in the playoffs. He's on the dot here against Cirelli. Edmund comes out of there with it after the faceoff. Cernak tries to get it clear. Can't do it. Kennedy to Clancy. Clancy's feed picked off. Cirelli gets it to Hedman. Nice job trying to break out here. Now they're trapped again. Pressure to Hedman. Hedman is checked off the puck. Puck goes down around behind. And the penalty has been killed, though. We're back at even strength. Sittler knocked off the puck in the corner. He's able to fight back, get it to Clancy. Clancy, slap shot from the point. Misses and goes all the way around. Hedman is taken down, wants a call, and this time the Lightning will get it. Ted Kennedy, not the drunken senator, is going to the box. And I think, again, that's the second. I mean, Kennedy had Hedman by the arm. And then, once he finally got free, checked him from behind. 29.9 on the power play for the Lightning in the playoffs. Huge opportunity for the Lightning to get even here. Boyle, one-time shot. Misses the mark. Stanley tries to flip it clear. Hammerlick gets it. Keeps it in the zone. Oh, what a play! What a play by Roman Hammerlick to keep that from leaving the zone. Pass to Stamkos, feeds San Luis down low, and the Lightning have tied Game 5. What a play by Hammerlick. Inches away from that leaving the zone, Hammerlick keeps it in. Stamkos with a beautiful feed. San Luis feeds Broda, and we are tied here in Game 5. Wow. Marty San Luis continues his terrific series, moves up the playoff points list as well. 4th goal in the postseason, Stamkos and Hammerlick on the assist. 13:04 of period number 2. Forced out of the zone. Clancy goes back to retrieve. Carlson to Sittler. Here's Goudreau. Goudreau takes the blue line. Johnny Goudreau gets hammered, but gets the pass off anyway. Centering pass deflected. Broda gets a hold of it and frees it. Toronto with the 21-16 shots advantage. Throws Stamkos and San Luis out there for Tampa. Duff, Fulford, and Bave for the lead. Nancy to Duff. Duff banks it off the boards. Boyle keeps it in the neutral zone. His pass is picked off by Rick Bave. Across the blue line. Bave cuts inside. Boyle to Malone. Malone to Goudreau. Boyle cuts through center ice. Boyle across the blue line. Nick Paul. Paul tries to feed him down low. Carlson intercepts. Duff beats the defender. Nice job there by Dick Duff to get it out. Here's Pulford. Pulford tries to feed it down low. Boyle intercepts. Palat to Killorn. Stanley. Killorn wins it. Killorn. Pulford. Pulford to Armstrong. Armstrong carries deep. Pulford out to the point. Stanley keeps it in the zone, but Palat intercepts. Andre Palat, breakaway, one-on-one with Broda. Shot. Broda with the save. Glove save. Kirk Broda denies Andre Palat on the breakaway. Beautifully done by Broda. Palat tries to flip it up high, and Broda snares it with the glove. Kirk Broda with a beauty. Keeps it 1-1. Palat, the Cavalier in point. Marner, Matthews, and Nyland. 4:15 remaining in the second. Hedman, slapper. Broda with the save. Rebound, denies him on the doorstep. Great sequence from Kirk Broda here over the last 20 seconds or so. Keeps this a 1-1 game. Hedman to the Cavalier. Here's Point. The Cavalier races to the slot. Shot wide of the mark. Point retrieves. Tries to play it out to the point, but Marner intercepts. Here comes Matthews. Matthews sends it down and around to come up on 3 minutes left in period number 2. Here in Game 5. Series tied, game tied. Broda mishandles it a little bit behind, but Brewer rescues it. Cernak to Gratton. Warner separates him from the puck. Matthews to Nylander. Sent down and around. Wendell Clark, the first man there. Good job by Clark. Drives to the front of the net, but Cernak cuts him off. Point with a breakout pass to Gratton. Gratton across the blue line. Gratton feed onto the doorstep, but Brewer intercepts. Gratton gets it. Shot from a distance. Broda snares it with the glove and holds on. Both teams under 80% in the passing effectiveness. That stat always seems a little bit awkward to me. I mean, I don't even see that gets tracked in real NHL. But generally speaking, below 80% is a not good figure. Stamkos deposits someone in the bench. Goudreau, shot stick save into the corner. Oh, Stamkos brought this crowd to its feet. I'm not sure who he leveled there, but knocked somebody into the Tampa bench. Kennedy with a shot. Vasilevsky with the glove save. Oh, boy. Let's get a look at this. Oh, my God. Who's number 2? I'm blanking on who number 2 is. We'll find out, but whoever it is, Stamkos with the big hit. Clancy, Sittler. Sittler's pass picked off by Goudreau. Goudreau sends it down and around. Racing up the ice. San Luis wins it. Feeding in the middle for Goudreau. Can't be handled. Carlson picks it off. San Luis wins it back. Shot from a distance. Broda with the save holds on. 27.1 remaining in the second period. Stamkos and Keon on the dot. 2 of the best. Keon with the win there. Sittler to Carlson. Carlson races. 14 seconds left in the second. Carlson feed in front. Good interception there by Victor Hedman. Hedman tries to get it clear. Clancy keeps it in the zone. Carlson to Dye. Dye back to Carlson. Carlson, one-timer is blocked in front, and that's how the second period comes to a close. But the Lightning get what they needed. They get level. Through 2 in Game 5. Marty San Luis knocks it up at 1. Oh, man, this is a great game. This has been a fun one. 1-1, but loads of action here. Just a fun, tight, nip-and-tuck battle. Toronto 0 for 4 on the power play. Tampa finally gets a power play, and they cash in, and we'll check on the goal. And this is a beauty. We'll see if the replay goes back far enough. Oh, it will. Okay, excellent. So watch the clearance attempt here. Goudreau pressures. I believe that's Brewer. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's Stanley. Oh, Brewer's 2. Stanley is 4. So that was Brewer who got put into that was Brewer who Stamkos put into the bench. But watch this play here from Roman Hammerlick. Right at the blue line, Hammerlick catches it from leaving the zone. Barely. Oh my goodness. What a play from Hammerlick. So Hammerlick keeps it from leaving the zone, then makes the pass right along the line to Stamkos. San Luis, now look at this. San Luis is up high. They're going to go to Stamkos here. San Luis drifts and just corrals the pass beautifully and beats Broda. That is a gorgeous goal all the way around to get the Lightning level. So, 20 minutes remaining here in Game 5. The all too used phrase, particularly all too used by me, but it fits. Pivotal. Game 5. Series knotted at 2. Game knotted at 1. We head to the third period, potentially the final 20 of Game 5. One of these teams will come out of here a game away from a Legends Cup berth. Marner, Matthews, and Nylander for Toronto. Goudreau, Stamkos, and San Luis for Tampa. Clancy to Marner. Marner, race in, shot, save from Vasilevsky. Marner gets his own rebound. Pass can't be handled. Gets out to the point. Toronto keeps it in the zone. Hedman and Matthews battle behind the net. Matthews wins it, tries to feed it out in front. McDonough intercepts. Ryan McDonough hits San Luis. San Luis sends it down and around. Goudreau racing to the other side, trying to win it. Goudreau does win it. San Luis to a rushing Hedman shot. We're going to have a delayed penalty call here. Extra attacker out for the Lightning. It's poked away by Nylander, but King Clancy is going to go to the box for an interference call. As he holds up San Luis and ends up taking out Goudreau at the same time. Clancy shouldn't have gotten called for a penalty there just because he detained two guys at once. But Clancy goes to the box, and the Lightning get a power play opportunity. Palat, Point, and Paul get the first crack at it for Tampa. Toronto wins the draw. Horner gets it, tries to get it clear, but it's stopped in the neutral zone. Hammerling to Palat. Palat carries deep in front. Shot saved by Broda. Palat gets the rebound, though. Hammerling to Boyle. Boyle to Paul. Out to... Andrei Vasilevsky has been strong in this game. Again, the only goal against him deflected in by his own player, Chris Gratton, in the first. But Vasilevsky has been on point here. 22 saves on the night. Palat, Point, and Paul for Tampa. Hammerlick, he's up, shot. Broda snares it. Leaves it for Thompson. Broda elects not to hold on to it there. And Palat ends up getting control. Boyle across the point. Shot there, hits the traffic. Sittler to Brewer. And Carl Brewer is going to send this one down the ice. That was a curious decision by Broda, who normally holds on to the puck. That was an odd time to elect not to. Point to Palat across the blue line. Palat races in. Blocker save from Broda, knocked into the corner. Brewer to Sittler. Sittler tries to get it clear. He'll send it down. Tampa will go back to retreat. 50 seconds remaining on the power play. Hammerlick to Palat. Point. Point to Palat. Shot save from Broda, who holds on. San Luis, Stamkos, and Goudreau. The power play unit, 39 seconds remaining. Stamkos. San Luis tries to feed it out to the point. Pass misses the mark. Tampa's going to have to go back and reset with 30 seconds left on the man advantage. Here's Stamkos. Stamkos to Goudreau. Goudreau working on, I believe that's Stanley. Stamkos behind the net. Stamkos pressure, comes out of there with it anyway. Cavalier feeds Stamkos down low. Stamkos into the middle. Shot. Goudreau denied by Broda along the post. 5 shots on the power play for Tampa. Unsuccessful as of yet. Stanley forced into an error. We're back at even strength. Penalty's been killed. Goudreau pressuring Armstrong. Kennedy to Stanley. Goudreau gets control again. Goudreau to Stamkos. Tees it up. Shot saved from Broda. Turned aside. San Luis goes into the corner for it. Out to the point. Hedman tries to tee it up. Loses control. Hedman now gets it back. Goudreau back to Hedman. Hedman tries to feed it down low. San Luis down low. Shot blocked. San Luis and Armstrong battle behind the net. Armstrong wins it. Gets it to Horner. Horner being pressured by Goudreau. Goudreau has been such a pest throughout this series for Tampa. That's what they got him for. Acquired from Calgary earlier on in the season. King Clancy gets flattened along the board. Killorn banks it off. Gets it across ice. Here's Hedman. Hedman across the blue line. Victor Hedman. Hedman's going to have an opportunity. Feed there just out of Cirelli's reach. Hedman goes behind the net. There's another takedown. Toronto with a big check. Hedman hit the post. I actually think that was Cirelli who hit the post after Hedman lost control. But the goalie's best friend keeps this 1-1. Hedman banks it off the boards. Killorn across the blue line. Killorn races in. Tries to leave the pass off Kennedy. gets a stick on it. Stanley gets chipped, keeps control. Now he sends it in as he gets hit again along the board. Boyle retrieves for Tampa. Turnover, and Kennedy with an opportunity. Vasilevsky will hold on. Anthony Cirelli with the opportunity there, but Broda seals off the post. But Cirelli hits the post. Broda kind of got off balance there. I'm not sure if he had contact or what. But Cirelli with an opportunity to put one past, hits the steal. Keep this a 1-1 game here in Game 5. Clancy slap shot way off the mark. Kept in though. Matthews. Cross to Marner. Marner being pressured. Comes out of there with it anyway. Nylander shot. Through traffic is blocked. Never quite got through. Matthews pokes it through. But Vasilevsky tracks it well and holds on. Marner, Matthews, and Nylander. Malone, Bratton, and Callahan. Matthews wins the draw. I'm sorry. Matthews didn't win the draw. Don't mind me. Nylander. Pass down low. Cernak intercepts. Here's Bratton. Bratton across the blue line. Fades the check. Puck is dumped down around the boards. Thompson retrieves it for the Leafs. 12 minutes remaining in the third. Nylander. Right along the blue line. Feeds Matthews down low. Matthews doesn't get a lot on that shot. That might have been partially blocked, and Vasilevsky holds on. Weren't too many hits in the first period. That has picked up as this game has gone on, but Tampa has given as good as they've gotten in this one. Danger to Cernak. And the physicality has been Toronto's. The more physical the games have gotten, the better Toronto has done in this series. Ranger to LeCavalier to Point. Point across the blue line. Braden Point, feed across LeCavalier. Shot, saved by Broda along the post. Palat, feed. Cernak tries to pull the trigger. He can't. Loose puck, a shot attempt there on Broda from LeCavalier in the slot, but Broda smothers it. Palat, LeCavalier, and Point, Sittler, Keon, and Dye, your lines. 10:48 remaining. Keon wins the draw. Tampa gets it in the neutral zone. Pressure along the near sideboard. Gets kicked along the board. Down into the Tampa end. Cavalier goes back to retrieve. Hammerlick being pressured by Keon. Gets it across to LeCavalier. Cavalier racing through the neutral zone. Vinny LeCavalier sweeping in. LeCavalier shot saved by Broda. LeCavalier had a man there. He kept it himself. And Broda denies him. Keon to Sittler. Sittler sends it around behind the net. Hammerlick pressured by Keon again. Gets some help from LeCavalier. Breakout pass to Gaudreau. Johnny Gaudreau racing in on Broda. Leaves it for Hammerlick. Back to Gaudreau. Backhand. Broda with the glove save. He holds on. Little surprise. Gaudreau didn't just take the shot on the rush. Another big save from Broda. He and Vasilevsky have both been very, very good. Callahan waiting for the rebound that never came. Holford and Stamkos on the dot. Tampa gets it. Hammerlick keys up. Hits traffic, goes wide. Gaudreau gets it in the corner. He's pressured. Stamkos goes to help. Feed in the middle. San Luis gets tied up. Can't get the contact on the shot. Boyle feeds it. Shoveled out to the point. Hammerlick can't get the shot off though. Puck is poked away. Carlson gets it. He's pressured down low. Now gets it back. Little give and go. Carlson behind the net. Tries to break out. Great job on the forecheck from Tampa, but Toronto finally breaks it. Babe across the blue line. Babe pressured by San Luis, who wins it. Give and go there. San Luis gets it left for him. Rushes in. He takes a hit. Chips it down behind the net. Stamkos tries to win it, but Carlson gets the best of him there. Shot there. Pad save. Owen to Nick Paul. To Hedman. It goes off Hedman's stick and rolls down. Hedman chases Nylander. Nylander gets there first and evades the check. Inside 7 minutes remaining. Clancy to Carlson. Carlson rushes in. He gets separated from the puck by Malone. Wendell Clark tries to carry it in deep. Saved by Vasilevsky. Rebound, score! Oh, what a hard-work goal from Wendell Clark. His second goal of the playoffs, and it is Wendell Clark, public enemy number 1. That puck goes up in the air, straight up. Deflected twice, and then Clark with the poke. Wendell Clark. Puck deflects off Vasilevsky. Clark is able to find it before Vasilevsky does. And Toronto has a 2-1 lead, 6:21 remaining. Wendell Clark's second goal of the postseason. Matthews to Marner. Crowd here in Tampa trying to exhort their team to get level. Hedman to Gratton. Gratton to Callahan. Matthews tries to win it. Can't get it off him. Change here for Tampa. Callahan shovels it in deep. Gratton goes behind the net. Pressures Horner. To Matthews. Matthews breakout pass to Armstrong, but Armstrong crossed the blue line too early. We'll have an offsides call. Clark, Kennedy, and Armstrong for the lead. Killorn, Paul, and Cirelli. And Clark has been public enemy number 1 since game 2. He took out Braden Point. Clark with the shot. Save. Wendell Clark feeling it right now. Kennedy in the slot. Save from Vasilevsky. Oh, that's a huge one. That's a great opportunity for Kennedy from the slot. But Vasilevsky keeps this a 1-goal game. Throws Stamkos and San Luis. Clark, Kennedy, and Armstrong. Stamkos wins the draw. But Clark ends up with the puck anyway. Turnover. Clark to Armstrong. Shot. Way wide of the mark. Hits off the end board. Pops back near the net. Ends up behind the net. Battle there. Tampa breakout pass. Here's Stamkos. Stamkos across the blue line tries to thread the needle, and Stanley intercepts. Puck is forced loose, though. San Luis skates in. Rhoda denies him. Armstrong checked along the board. Here's Horner. 3 minutes remaining in Game 5. San Luis through the neutral zone. Tries to send it down and around. It hits the stanchion, and we will have a face-off in the neutral zone. Turk Broda denies Marty San Luis here. Comes up huge. Sittler, Keon, and dive. Palat, LeCavalier, and Point. Edmund to McDonough. Cavalier, there's a takedown, and there's going to be an extra attacker here for the Lightning. McDonough is taken down, but we're going to have a penalty, and it's Darryl Sittler. That looked more like a high stick. I don't think that's what they called. I think they called it a cross check, but that looked more like a high stick. But regardless, Sittler ends up in the box. Well, this is pretty much the game here for the Lightning. Man advantage. Palat, Point, and Paul started off. Down 1, 2:24 remaining. Stolen by Point. Point speed in the middle. Thompson intercepts. Thompson whips it around the boards. That's going to get all the way down. And the Lightning will go back to retrieve. Boyle's pass picked off by Bob Fulford. Fulford feed in front, looking for Keon, the short-handed specialist, but it's intercepted. Palat across the blue line. Palat cuts it in the middle. Brewer takes it off of him. Fulford sends it down, and once again the Lightning will have to go back to retrieve. Keon again putting on the pressure. Hammerlick breaks this one out to point, though. To Palat across the blue line. Palat flips it down behind the net. Thompson goes back for it, evades the pressure, and is able to get it clear. Oh, Tampa had a guy there to keep it in the zone, and he wasn't able to. Matthews beats Gaudreau to the puck, but Matthews' pass is picked off by Stamkos. Cirelli across the blue line, feeds Stamkos. Stamkos to Cirelli on the doorstep. Can't get the shot off. It was tied up in his skates. Tampa keeps it in the zone. Hammerlick to Gaudreau with the point. Shot. Glove save from Broda, who holds on with Stamkos breathing down his neck. 1:10 remaining, 44 seconds on the man advantage for Tampa. 35 shots for the Lightning, 30 for the Leafs. Trying to get it clear. Hedman. They'll reset. Palat to point. Feed into the middle. Palat, shot. Brodo denies it. Paul tries to dig it out of the corner. Plays it up high. Hedman keeps it in. Point. To the Cavalier. The Cavalier tries to get a shot off. He's tied up. Armstrong gets it clear. Racing towards the loose puck. Carlson gets there first. He gets hammered by Hedman. Lightning with the last rush here. 10 seconds left on the power play. Puck goes too far out ahead. Tampa sends it back down, and the power play will be killed off. 27 seconds remaining. Here's Braden Point. Point chips it in. Lightning try to get the forecheck going. Got to think they're going to get Vasilevsky out of here. Surprised they didn't pull him at that point. Marner's pass kicked off by Gaudreau. Grant to Boyle. Out comes Vasilevsky to Gaudreau. Gaudreau, speed in front, shot, denied. St. Louis gets taken down. Not sure if he got taken down or he dove for the tip-in, but regardless, the Leafs take Game 5, and Toronto is a game away from a Legends Cup berth. Great game here in Tampa. The Leafs win it 3-2. Oh, I want to see that last opportunity. There's the San Luis goal. That was an absolute beauty. Stamkos putting Carl Brewer into the bench. But at the end of the day, the Wendell Clark goal in the third period. Loose change. Clark tips it in for the goal. San Luis, the third star. Oh, that play was pretty. That was my favorite play of the game. From Hammerlick keeping it from leaving the zone to the whole setup there. Vasilevsky gets second star honors. And your first star honor goes to Turk Broda. 35 saves on the night. Stopped a couple of breakaways, a couple of other really golden opportunities. But we're going to go back. Honestly, two things here. Well, first we'll see the Clark goal. And Clark, public enemy number one here. First of all, he fights through against Malone. Gets the shot off. That's a great play in and of itself. Toe save there. Now that shot may have even been going wide, but this pops straight up in the air. It comes down. Look, Vasilevsky tries to get a hold of it and can't. And now the puck is loose, and Clark just pokes at it, and Vasilevsky can't get to it. Hedman can't get to it. Just a tenacious goal from Wendell Clark. But I want to take a look here. Do we get? Oh, we're not even gonna get it because it wasn't really a shot because it was a pass. So San Luis never really made contact. So that last attempt, yeah, that last attempt we're never gonna see. I just wanted to see if that was. I'll tell you, this is a. Does this hit off of Paul, or is that a save from Broda? Oh, that's Broda. With Paul right in his face. That's a great save there. Oh, no big, no classified as big hits. All right, so I thought we were going to possibly get another look at that last scoring opportunity, but no such luck. Well, this series has been outstanding, but now the Leafs head back to Toronto, a game away from a berth in the first Legends Cup. Clearly carried by the fact that Toronto has a bunch of 200-year-old players on this team from back when they actually made Stanley Cups. But no, the Leafs with a grinded out win here in this one, despite going 0 for 4 on the power play. Lightning certainly didn't play a bad game, but at the end of the day, Toronto comes out with the 2-1 win here in Game 5. That'll do it. So right now, the Leafs and the Wild, each up 3-2 in their respective conference finals. Next game on the channel will be Game 6 of the Western Conference Final, heading back to Minnesota as the Avalanche, the top seed, try to force a Game 7. Thank you as always for tuning in. Bang that like button if you haven't as of yet. Subscribe if you haven't as of yet. Subscribe to the Legend Sports Universe on Substack if you haven't already, for game write-ups, post-game quotes, and other miscellaneous items of interest, as I've just gotten that Substack going to try to help in my ongoing effort to bring the Legend Sports Universe to life a bit. Until next time, everybody, be good to each other, and we'll talk soon. The late goal from Wendell Clark gives the Maple Leafs a 2-1 win in Game 5.